event where he made a statement saying that myths should be avoided, and that is the gist of it basically. Myths should be avoided from being passed off as scientific truth, and that he also raised up certain issues, especially from India's kind of socio-cultural milieu or myths. He said that Pushpak Vimana was not something that we would be looking at as the first aircraft. We see what the Wright brothers had gone ahead and invented. He also went ahead and said that when it comes to the issue about plastic surgery, especially where he said that there are forces that are promoting it, that Lord Ganesha was the one who was first underwent a plastic surgery, and that he said it's a myth. And then the next controversy that comes as well, when he was talking about how certain elements were trying to discourage the study of Darwin's theory of evolution. So all the statement had resulted in a series of backlashes. And interestingly enough, from the Nair Seva Society or the Nair Service Society, we had reactions immediately coming in, where we had the head of that society coming out in the open and saying that it is a statement that has hurt the belief of people and it is aimed at their belief. Now, we had the Congress also coming in saying that what Shamsheer has said, it has given fodder to communal forces. But the CPM has backed Shamsheer and has said that his statements were misconstrued, and Shamsheer later clarified, saying that he respects all religions and there was no intention about hurting anyone's religious beliefs, but he was only trying to say that myths were being passed on as scientific truths. So this is something that resulted in a huge controversy with the BJP, and the RSS also coming in saying that it's an anti-Hindu sentiment that has been behind the statement that has been made. So it has become a communal kind of a situation. With the NSS also joining in, it has become an issue for a lot of people in Kerala around this statement that was made by Shamsheer. So to discuss more about this, we have with us Jisha Surya, who in fact joins us from Kerala. We are also joined in by Sebastian Paul, who is a sympathizer to the CPM, and at the same time we'll be joined in by Rahul Ishwar as well as George Kaliwail as well, who's associate editor of the, in fact George has joined us, he's editor Deepika Daily newspaper from Kerala. So we'll be in fact going to them. But before that, let's listen into what exactly AN Shamsheer did say when it came to that statement. Let's listen into what he has.
First of all, let me clear my stand. I'm not against any religion. I am respecting all religious sentiments and religious beliefs. There was an unfortunate incident is taking place in Kerala regarding my speech I had made in July 21st at the Kundatnad Assembly segment by addressing the students. By addressing the student community, I spoke to them, we had to promote science, because in this Indian context, science should be promoted. You know in Article 51A clause H clearly mentioned you had to promote scientific temper. I only made that statement. Unfortunately, somebody is telling that science promoting Hinduism. They are giving more importance to, they are telling that aeroplane has been invented by Hindu community, and also plastic surgery is at the time of Hindu period. These all are baseless. So I spoke regarding the science. I told them we had to promote science. That was the only statement I had made. But unfortunately, the people, they want to create unnecessary problems here. They want to disturb this communal harmony in Kerala. That is why they are propagating such lies. Those old propagation made by them are false, baseless. I don't think so. Did you heard my speech? If you heard my speech completely, nobody will make such comments. Nobody. They are deliberately creating unnecessary issues. They are deliberately propagating lies. The brain behind this propagation is Sangh Parivar. Sangh Parivar ideology is propagating lies and creating it as a truth. That was a strategy. That's why they are creating unnecessary issues in Kerala. They are trying to distort the history. They are trying to tamper science. They are telling Darwin's theory is wrong. Such baseless things are telling by them. So, being an Indian citizen, it's my right to question. That's the only thing I had done. I quoted Mr. Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister. He had made such comments, not me. 2014 October, who made such comments? Go through my speech. I quoted some examples. Who had used the examples? It's me. It is being used by our Honorable Prime Minister on 2014 October. That has quoted. That's the only thing I had done. Look, NSS is an organization. They had a right to protest. So they are doing. They had a right to stand against me. They can show difference among me. That's why they are doing. That's all. The statement made by Mr. Surendran, the BJP state president, was venomous. The people of Kerala is against that his statements.
Well, I was in fact going through that statement that he had made over there, and let me get my colleagues Jisha Surya also into this. Jisha, this statement which was made, the argument is that he was trying to promote scientific temper, scientific thought. He went to the constitution of Article 51. But for me, the surprising element is that there have been several controversies like that, where the CPM tries to belittle religious belief because it's part of the idea. You never had this kind of a reaction coming in, especially. We have, is in fact being one of the first organizations that jumped into the fray, and they are the ones who first in fact tried to say that this actually hurt religious beliefs, and you had the NSS chief going to a famous temple and going for a special puja as well. So what is actually happening? What happened? Because Sabarimala, this seems to be one controversy that has again sparked the issue about belief in Kerala.
Yes, indeed. The BJP is trying to use this as a second edition of Sabarimala protest. Yesterday, BJP State President K. Surendran's post has curiously had a tag that Ganesha Sharanam. Usually, Sharanam is normally associated with Ayyappa, Lord Ayyappa. So it is definitely going that path, especially with the Nama Japa Ghoshayatra that we have seen during the Sabarimala protest. The NSS led that same protest during the Sabarimala time. So it is definitely going that way, evoking, triggering sharp reaction from both RSS, BJP, and NSS leaders. So since like Shamseer said, the statement initially came on July 21st. So initially there were demands from the part of various like BJP and RSS and VHP demanding apology from the speaker. But initially he refused to respond to this controversy. But this escalated only when the Nair Service Society intensified their protests. Like recently, NSS General Secretary G. Sukumaran Nair issued a strong statement against Shamseer, and he said that this faith should not be mixed with science. And we have seen his comments like that are against Shamseer, and he urged all the NSS volunteers to conduct pujas at Ganapati temples, and that as part of this faith protection day that was held on Wednesday, they conducted a huge procession in Thiruvananthapuram. And so they are intensifying the protest. Initially, NSS General Secretary said that Shamseer should step down from his post as the speaker, but later he's toned down and said he must apologize. But CPM is standing strong with Shamseer and saying that his statement was totally misquoted, and his statement was totally regarding the teaching and the politics, but nothing to do with religion. And CPM is totally backing Shamseer in this regard.
Well, let me get in George Kaliwal right over here. George, you're a believer. I'm also a believer. And, we have other people who believe in a lot of things. And there are atheists also who believe in certain concepts as such. Now, the question over here is that what is actually the controversy? I mean, in Kerala, you have this been going on for a long time, but suddenly the religious aspect of it is standing out in this. Being a Christian, you and me, we have big issues with the Darwinian model of evolution as such. But the same thing is there with the RSS also saying that Darwin's evolution should even be thought. But as a person in the modern world, we do compartmentalize our thoughts. Our belief, we keep it separate. When it comes to science, we also keep it separate. So I think that separation wall has now somewhere, been toned down. And the CPM, of course, has been what they call scientific atheism. That is what they try to promote. Now, This has been the situation for almost years together, but suddenly the NSS is jumping into it, has changed the entire equation and the entire debate. It would have been a small column in a newspaper and maybe one reference somewhere there saying the minister promotes science and all that. But then that did not happen. This I would have anticipated in the 80s and 90s, but now in 2020s, this entire narrative has changed completely. Is Kerala getting religious or is it getting politically religious?
Varghese, I think it is politically religious. This issue, the entire controversy is based on politics, rather than any real issues on a classification between myths and science. Myths are myths. It cannot be science. It can be science. That's all. That's a different issue. But science is acceptable for all. Myths are very personal choices. Whether you believe in one religion, you believe, nobody disagrees with that. But that doesn't mean that science can be related to or mixed with myths. No, science is acceptable and science is proven to all. And in this modern world, we all have to accept science. And I fully endorse the views of AN Shamsheer. But the issue is that Shamseer could have commented on some other religions also. He made only one or two references to Hindu religion, related to Hindu religion, whether it is on Ganesha or that's a different issue. He could have, by name, his name is something else. He was born into another religion. Therefore, he could have avoided that controversy. That's all. Otherwise, whatever he said is completely true, and I fully support that. You know, these kind of narratives have started when BJP government came to power in 2014. Narendra Modi himself made a certain remarks during the inauguration of the Reliance hospital in Mumbai. Later, you know, in January 2019, the Vice Chancellor of Andhra University, G. Nageshwar Rao, made so many such comments. He said stem cells research was being done during centuries ago. We had 100 Kauravas from one mother because of stem cell and test tube technology. That is what he said in a science congress, not in a Hindu religious meeting. This kind of, he said, Rao added that, Vishnu Chakra is like guided missiles in the ancient India. He was telling again that, Brahma discovered dinosaurs. That kind of, this was told or this was spoken by a vice chancellor of a reputed university. This kind of narratives are politically motivated, and the entire controversy in Kerala is based on that only. And I don't think any merit in that reality. In reality or in factual things, everybody has to accept that science is science, and we have to go through science. We need a scientific number, whether it is told by Jawaharlal Nehru or there was a guiding principle in our own constitution. That's a different matter. We have to accept that everything in the religious beliefs may not be scientific. But you can believe. Nobody questions whether you believe. Shamseer also never, the Speaker of Kerala Assembly, never questioned that belief. He was questioning, don't say that these are science. And even if say, this is not plastic surgery, this can be a transplantation of a head on something else. That is not plastic surgery at all. The basic theory itself differs, because these NSS itself, Nair Service Society, has many modern medicine hospitals. They are teaching science in all their schools and colleges. And I don't know how this controversy can happen.
But George, in fact, let me get Sebastian Paul also. I think I have one aspect that you have raised about. Sebastian, when I look at the CPM, I understand the ideology, I understand scientific atheism, I understand all the, achievements that the erstwhile USSR had because it was on that particular path. But my question is, when Shamsheer makes a statement like this, why pinpoint one religion? I mean, there are beliefs in all the other religions, but pinpoint one religion. This here what we see is that there was pinpointing of one religion. There is a lot of myths that are there in many other religions as well. His own religion he could have in fact spoken about, the Christianity he could have spoken about, or in Kerala when there is a significant number of Jews who are there also, he could have spoken about all those myths, but that was not there. One religion was pinpointed on that in that place, and now the CPM says that, you know, it was misconstrued, it was that, and of course when you do not have the point I was trying to say is when you have a secular approach, you should have a secular approach for all the religions. It's not that only one religion should be pinpointed for making it, you know, secularly acceptable.
Mr. George Carlivaniel has presented the case in this correct perspective. What now I understand is that the problem is not what Shamseer had said, but his name is the problem. If the same thing was said by someone else, say a Hindu, there would not have been such a commotion. As mentioned here, who said first that Lord Ganesha was the creation of plastic surgery? It was our Prime Minister himself who said years back. Now, Shamseer was only addressing an academic meeting. He's addressing the students. And what he said science should prevail over myth and belief.
But my question here is, why is only myth and belief on one religion being highlighted? My question is that I have nothing of the, see, when I understand Shamsheer, I don't think so it's about his name. We have seen in Sabarimala how many CPM workers as well as CPM leaders had spoken about Sabarimala as well. So over here, I don't think so it's about the name. It is about the pinpointing. That is why some sections of society in Kerala feel victimized.
That is only a pragmatic balancing while making a speech. He could have drawn examples from various religions, including his own religion. But that's another matter. If he says that the same thing is applicable to all religions, will these people be satisfied? So after Lord Ayyappa, now they are invoking Lord Ganesha for their political capital motive.
So that is what the Congress has said. No, the Congress is saying that the statement of Mr. Shamsheer has only given fodder to communal forces. So why make the statement in the first place?
That is the question. That means we may not be able to speak anything. We have to
I'm not saying you shouldn't speak, sir. I'm not saying we shouldn't speak. I was, Mr. Sebastian Paul, I'm not saying we shouldn't speak. We should speak about it. But it shouldn't be targeting just one religion and their beliefs is what I'm saying. Because right now, here we are talking about, see, that's why I started off. I'm a believer, but I compartmentalize my belief and I compartmentalize my scientific aspect as well. I keep it two separate things. I'm not going to mix both of them because both of them will never marry each other because both have different thought processes and belief has a different way of rationalizing it. Science has a different way of rationalizing it. Science is based on evidence that we can see right now and things. Belief is more philosophical and, you know, issues like that. But for me, the biggest issue is here that this wouldn't have turned out to be a controversy. It was in the 90s, 80s and 1990s. Now it is turning into a controversy. Why? Because what I observe is that there is a kind of victimization feeling among certain sections of the society because they were pulled up. That's the reason I was trying to put out that question to you, Sebastian. Sorry, sir, for interrupting you while you were speaking, but yes, I'll give you your time.
No, sir. Here the question is, Shamseer was not speaking on religious reformation. He was speaking in the context of what is happening in the country. For the last 10 years at least, right from the beginning of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said about plastic surgery. There is an attempt is going on to replace religious beliefs and myth with scientific facts and evidence or historical developments. So it was in that context he mentioned the name of Lord Ganesha. I don't think it is derogatory or he was wounding the religious feelings and beliefs of any particular religion. They should be mature enough to accept Shamir's criticism as such. They should have pointed out that such things are happening in Islam, such things are happening in Christianity or in any other religion. Instead of countering Shamseer in such an academic and democratic way, they are coming to the streets, mobilizing religious faithful, their followers, invoking Ganesha prayer. those things are more primitive and those things should be condemned as such.
Mr. Sebastian, we have a reaction coming in from K. Surendra. Let's listen into what he had to say.
CPM is always issuing such statements by important leaders. Once Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan, now the Speaker. So my question is, why Congress party is keeping silence? Why the opposition leader is not coming against this statement? So this is a mysterious silence. Are they afraid of Muslim League or other fringe Muslim terror elements? So always in Sabarimala issue also, Congress took such a stand. Then Congress became the beneficiary, but in the time of protest they were not present, they were not ready to fight against this CPM government's anti-Hindu activities. Same thing happening. Here the other Hindu organizations including NSS, they are coming together, BJP supporting them, they are also supporting it. So there is a strong Hindu protest against the CPM stand in this Ganesha issue.
Well, we are also joined in by Rahul Ishwar, author as well as a social activist. Rahul, your first reactions to this right now? I know, I'm asking a believer, and you have attended atheistic conventions as well. I've seen those videos where you try to argue for belief as such. But then about this controversy that has happened all of a sudden, I was arguing that I'm also a believer, so I would like to keep belief and science separately. But this statement that has come by AN Shamsheer has turned out to be a very political issue in Kerala as well. Your first reactions on those statements?
Two submissions. Even though national media introduces me as a social activist, I'm a Hindu activist itself. I'm basically a Hindu activist who takes up Hindu causes, who fights for Hindu causes, and that's my core identity. But when I address Prophet Muhammad, I always make it a point to tell Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because that's the culture of India. Or if I address Jesus Christ, I always address Son of God, Jesus Christ. See, this is the pluralistic Gandhian framework that India has, and it is our responsibility that we should uphold that particular framework. And that's the base of Indian secularism or Indian pluralism or whatever we call it. Second, being a person who knows Shamseer, I will never tell Shamseer is an Islamist. I will never tell Shamseer is a communalist. But he should have been more cautious, careful when invoking regarding a deity of a Hindu religion. And that was not wise of him. That was not sensitive enough of him. He should have refrained from commenting on this particular topic, because that is not right. And it can be interpreted and misinterpreted in many ways. What Shamseer needs to do is he should express regret. And one more thing, maybe you have missed. In Malayalam, what happened was next day, Govinda Master, who is a secretary of CPM, when asked a question, said, is Ganapati a myth? He said, yes, Ganapati is a myth. But when somebody asked, is Allah a myth? He said, Allah is more of a belief. So this kind of double standard is very painful for normal Hindus and very painful for all community harmonious believing pluralist people, because you cannot have double standards to various religions or various faiths. We should respect every faith in its sanctity, and that's the base of Indian pluralism. That's the basis of Indian harmony. But unfortunately, CPM is always disrespectful of Hindu faith. We have seen that in Sabarimala. But in the case of Uniform Civil Code, they will run behind the Muslim organizations because our Muslim brothers have a strong collective vote bank. So that is not right. Hindus may not be united, but that is not a reason to disrespect Hindus. Let us respect every faith, Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, or even atheism. There are a lot of rationalists too. I don't have any disrespect towards them. The core premise is we need to have a respect towards every faith. We need not agree with them, but respect is very important. And just one more line. Ganapati is not a myth. Ganapati is a symbolism. Ganapati is Purana. Allah is theology or Deva Shastra, or Yahweh is Deva Shastra or theology. Similarly, Ayyappa, Jesus Christ, Prophet Muhammad are all part of history. So there are many classifications, not only myth. There is Purana, there is Itihasa or poetic history, there is history, there is theology, there is philosophy. So there are various compartments when we talk about belief systems or belief paradigms. CPM has missed the nuance. I hope CPM will express regret and not go for offending Hindu sentiments again.
But right now, what I've been seeing, Rahul, is that the CPM has been trying to defend Shamsheer on that statement, and they have said that there was no need to apologize, and that has been the CPM stand. And I was saying that CPM's ideology is about scientific atheism, promoting scientific thought as such. And but my other issue over here is also that why is there a need for all religions to validate from science? Why is that need there? Why is I don't think so. You don't require that need to validate from science at all. This is where the problem happens, and when people are rationalists will question that aspect as well. That is where the issue is. Why is that religions are all asking, scientific validation required for this? Yeah.
Just one more submission. This is a fault that many of us believers have. We try to prove that our religion is scientific. There is
exactly
no
the point. The thing is that why go for science?
Exactly. There is no need to take validation from science. And one more thing, in India's history, we had issues like casteism, but we never had an issue with science. It's a Western paradigm or worldview which clashes with science, where essentially religion is on one side and science is on the other side. But in the 5,000-year-old history of India, we never had thrown stones at the scientists. We have always called them rishis, munis, or maharshis, and we have respected and revered them. So in India, science versus religion is never the question. It was perhaps so in the West. In India, we always treated science as something sacred, or science as something that will take us to a higher level. So there is no essential clash with science, one. Second, there is no need for any kind of validation from science. Religion is, or spirituality is spirituality, religion is religion. There are some spaces where they can give a shake hand. There are some spaces they can be apart. So there is no point in mixing these two.
Well, no point in mixing. George, how do you think this mixing process has started in the last 15, 20 years, where every religion says scientifically, let me tell you, this aspect of that theology that we are speaking is scientifically valid. This aspect of our history is scientifically valid. This aspect of our deity's intervention in human history is scientifically valid. So this is this scientific validation that everybody is looking at. Why do you require scientific validation in religion? I don't understand at all. And the biggest problem is when scientific validation is sought from science, science will of course oppose it, saying that you are myths because you don't fall within the paradigms of science. If you go by Baconian method, you don't fall into the paradigms of science, because the idea of religion is to believe in a deity or an entity that is beyond the physical reality or physical laws of science, and science goes by what is physically verifiable. So at the same time, how do you marry both of these things? And only recently in Kerala you find so many YouTubers, so many influencers, all of them coming after giving a religious speech, they try to validate it with science, and that is where the problem is, isn't it?
Yes, Varghese, first of all, let me congratulate both my friends, Sebastian Paul and Rahul Ishwar. Rahul Ishwar was talking very sensibly. What he said is, I fully accept that. Well, the only thing is that who created all these narratives? First of all, we talked about Narendra Modi's speech in 2014. Then I spoke about the Andhra University Vice Chancellor's speech. I can mention few others, like Tripura's former Chief Minister Biplav Deb. That time he was Chief Minister in 2018 April. He was saying that, internet was invented by ancient Indians. He said that the fact that one of the characters in the epic, Sanjaya, have been able to give a blow-by-blow account of the Kurukshetra battle that was taking place miles away to the king Dhritarashtra, proved that India had the internet and science technologies. That is one. Then the Harshavardhan, that time he was Minister for Science and Technology. He was telling that Hindu Vedas had a theory which trumped Einstein's theory of relativity. That was again in 2018 January. Satyapal Singh, that time he was Minister for Human Resource Development. He was saying that, claimed that Charles Darwin's theory of evolution was scientifically wrong. That means, now he was saying that I have a list of around 10 to 15 great scientists of the world who have said that there is no evidence to prove that the theory of evolution is correct. Okay, since man is seen on earth, he was always being a man. Nobody, including our ancestors, is written or oral, said they ever saw an ape turning into a human being. This kind of, again, there is Mahesh Chandra High Court make a sense about people. I can come with so many others. These narratives that validation of science for religious beliefs or myths, Mahabharata, or Ramayana. We proud. We studied in our school textbooks. We never objected to that. Every Christian school, every Muslim school taught all this. There is no issue at all. Whether it is a story, whether it is an epic, whether it is a reality, whether it is a myth, whether it is a belief, we don't mind. But science should be separate. Science is science, and we should all accept science as sacred. And science is always improving. It is changing. We will find out new definitions, new realities in science. That's a different issue. But we cannot say that religion and science cannot be mixed. It should not be mixed. We are all believers. We can believe in what we believe. Nobody questions that. We should respect others. But the only mistake Shamseer made, that he made reference only to Hindu religious gods. That was a mistake. He could have related
avoided
to others.
Just listen, since you read, let's just listen to what Shamsheer tried to give as a clarification. Let's listen to that particular bite as such.
First of all, let me clear my stand. I am not against any religion. I am respecting all religious sentiments and religious beliefs. There was an unfortunate incident is taking place in Kerala regarding my speech I had made in July 21st at the Kundatnad Assembly segment by addressing the students. By addressing the student community, I spoke to them, we had to promote science, because in this Indian context, science should be promoted. You know in Article 51A clause H clearly mentioned, you have to promote scientific temper. I only made that statement. Unfortunately, somebody is telling that science promoting Hinduism. They are giving more importance to, they are telling that aeroplane has been invented by Hindu community, and also plastic surgery is at the time of Hindu period. These all are baseless. So I spoke regarding the science. I told them we had to promote science. That was the only statement I had made. But unfortunately, the people, they want to create unnecessary problems here. They want to disturb this communal harmony in Kerala. That is why they are propagating such lies. Those old propagation made by them are false, baseless. I don't think so. Did you heard my speech? If you heard my speech completely, nobody will make such comments. They are deliberately creating unnecessary issues. They are deliberately propagating lies. The brain behind this propagation is Sangh Parivar. Sangh Parivar ideology is propagating lies and creating it as a truth. That was a strategy. That's why they are creating unnecessary issues in Kerala. They are trying to distort the history. They are trying to tamper science. They are telling Darwin's theory is wrong. Such baseless things are telling by them. So, being an Indian citizen, it's my right to question. That's the only thing I had done. I quoted Mr. Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister. He had made such comments, not me. In 2014 October, who made such comments? Go through my speech. I quoted some examples. Who had used the examples? It's me. It is being used by a Honorable Prime Minister on 2014 October. That has quoted. That's the only thing I had done. Look, NSS is an organization. They had a right to protest. So they are doing. They had a right to stand against me. They can show difference among me. That's why they are doing. That's all. The statement made by Mr. Surendran, the BJP state president, was venomous. The people of Kerala is against that his statements.
Well, let me get my colleague Jisha now. Jisha, I mean, when I keep, when we observe these things, last time when Sabarimala agitation happened, you had the BJP and you had the Sangh Parivar forces, all of them in the full, with their full might, opposing the entry of women into the temple premises. And then the people who actually benefited from this was the Congress, because you had almost 19 seats, parliamentary seats going into the Congress and only one to the CPM at that time. And everybody said that there was this talk saying that the BJP actually did the work for the Congress. that there was a talk that happened politically then, that the entire thing, the entire hard work was done by BJP, but no benefits, because the people of Kerala thought that BJP is not strong enough to in fact take on the CPM, and Congress was the one who was benefiting from this. I'll come to you, Rahul, one second. I'll just get Jisha's opinion on this. Right now, as we call Ganapati Saranam and that interesting statement that is being made, it looks like the BJP wants to make it into a huge issue. But again, the Congress is very, technically silent here and there. They tend to not make very, direct statements against the CPM, and they say that you're feeding communal forces. It looks like the Congress is trying to piggy ride on this, what the BJP is trying to do. Politically, is this happening again? What happened in Sabarimala, where all that hard work actually benefited the Congress?
Exactly. Regarding the Lok Sabha election results, there are two versions. One is that it was a huge wave caused by Rahul Gandhi impact, and also the people of Kerala vote for, vote separately for assembly and Lok Sabha elections, and that's why they preferred Congress. But there are also this argument that they considered Congress a better opponent, to stand with the minorities, even the majority community. So there are a lot of versions regarding the Lok Sabha elections. But yes, it is a fact that Sangh Parwar or the BJP couldn't really reap in on that huge campaign that they had undertaken during the Sabarimala time. So, we have seen that a lot of, they were having an overwhelming support from various groups, not just NSS. There were a lot of people, believers, who stood with this protest against the entry of women of menstruating age to this Sabarimala temple. So at that time, many political observers thought that this might be the right chance for the Sangh Parivar to make an entry into the Kerala politics. Even Sangh Parivar openly stated that this is their golden opportunity. But at the end of, by the elections, all this turned wrong. So now when they come out with Sabarimala 2.0, as someone says, or not many people are very hopeful, because they have seen what happened during the Sabarimala protest. It was huge. It was there was nothing like that during that time. The Sangh Parivar for the first time enjoyed a huge support during the Sabarimala. But this time, I don't think that kind of a protest is among the major community, because the people who have seen the full statement of Shamseer do not actually have a major problem with his statement. But there are these questions like why he is, picking out one particular religion. That is a question someone are raising. But otherwise, his argument not to mix myth with science is generally accepted in Kerala, which we have a great history of Renaissance. So did we have a good scientific temper? So people do associate with what he was trying to say. So that kind of an anti-government sentiments that happened during Sabarimala is not, I don't think that is visible now. But the BJP is trying to make an intense protest out of this.
Well, I'll come to now. We'll have Rahul Ishwar on this. In fact, you wanted to answer something on this. When just before you give your answer, I just was looking at, actually when it came to Sabarimala, there was fear even among other religions that the intervention in Sabarimala would lead to intervention in their own religions, and there could be laws that be brought in or through the court that would result in intervention in the church or in the mosque committees. So that fear also led to the fact that there was a lot of support for the Sabarimala agitation, even though the Sangh Parivar was in the front. You had PC George and all of them coming out in support, and there were also Muslim organizations that came in support of the Sabarimala agitation. So it was technically a believer versus the state at that time, an atheistic state that time when we were looking at it. So, but this time, do you think that kind of a current is there? Because last time also you worked very hard and you had the Congress in fact getting the benefit of it. This time, how do you see it?
Varghese, two submissions. Please listen to this very carefully, because this touches the very soul of what is called Indian Constitution. One, in Sabarimala case, no political party was supporting us. I spent 16 years of my life fighting for this. I was alone in Supreme Court for years with nobody even coming for hearing, and I was alone present, traveling from Kerala to Delhi for almost many years. All the political parties were not supporting even when the verdict came. But because of a handful of protesters like me, my grandmother Devagi Andarjanam was the first first person to be arrested. Second was my mother, Mallika Nambudiri. Third, I was arrested along with Prayar Gopalakrishnan, a senior Devasam board member and Congress leader. Sabarimala topic is not about politics, and it was a ploy to bring uniform civil code in an indirect way. That's the real game of Sabarimala verdict. That means state can intervene, diluting Article 25 and 26, and Article 44 will be given an upper hand. This was the crux of it. Thankfully, Congress, BJP and all political parties came, and NSS doesn't vouch for any kind of politics. NSS was strongly with believers from the beginning itself. NSS hired a very expensive lawyer, Parasharan sir, and did all the hard work. So it was not the BJP, not the Sangh Parivar, not the Congress or any political party that really fought the agitation. It was the normal believer, and thankfully Muslim League supported, Christian churches supported, all the entire our minority brothers and sisters supported. That's a great thing, because we all believe in the principle that state shouldn't intervene in faith and faith related matters, and Article 25 and 26 is sacrosanct. So second, in this case it is not Sabarimala 2.0, because Sabarimala was a different kind of an emotional issue where law, legality, deity, so many other aspects are there. This cannot be 2.0, and this is not 2.0. Here, one particular statement by Shamseer, which can be interpreted in many ways, had that effect. And I would like to give you an update. Some minutes ago, Govindamas or Sri M.V. Govindan, who is the state secretary of CPM, right now changed his position. Yesterday, he told Ganapati was a myth. Today, he changed that position thanks to him. See, this is not the way that CPM should handle cases related to religion. We need a Gandhian approach. Mahatma Gandhi was never superstitious. Mahatma Gandhi was a strong believer. He always upheld sensitivity and pluralism and respect for every faith. And if I come down to politics of today, see, BJP, Congress, CPM, they may have their own politics, but at the end of the day, communal harmony is a sacrosanct concept, a sacred concept, and not related to politics. It is much above politics. So we shouldn't have any kind of a communal hatred. And one more thing, NSS is perhaps the only organization in the world, not in Kerala, not in India, but in the entire world, who takes a pledge, an oath when they go as NSS members. And that oath says, when I work for my community, I make sure that I will never do anything to harm the interest of my brother communities. This is the official pledge of NSS, constituted by Bharata Kesari Mannathu Patnabhan, who was a legendary Nair Hindu leader from Kerala. And they have always drawn inspiration from Mahatma Gandhi. They are a pluralistic, centrist or center-right kind of a Hindu organization. So this is different. Sabarimala is different. This case is different. This has more hues of politics. Sabarimala was more of a spiritual case where state intervention shouldn't be there. It was in effect a fight against or fight resisting any kind of state intervention, including uniform civil code, into the belief system. So it's a bit more complex. Divine or devil lie in the details. And unless we go into details, we won't be able to clearly distinguish all this.
Rise in the details, well, I also agree with it. But again, we have to come to an end into this discussion as such. The biggest question that we are being asking is whether science and belief, it has to be kept separate or not, and we should in fact mix it. I believe that it has to be compartmentalized. I would want to learn evolution, but I would keep my religious belief as well. So that would be the kind of situation that I would be looking at. Thank you all for joining us on this. And on the other side, after the break, we have India's bid for a UN Security Council seat is blocked by a bunch of self-serving nations. This 1945 era rules mean that India's contribution to the United Nations spanning many decades is ignored. The rules of the game have to be tweaked for any real change. This is what we are covering on the other side. Well, with that, it's an end on this. Stay tuned for that special documentary on India's possibility of entering the United Nations Security Council, being a bleak situation as of now when it comes to the kind of rules that are in place.
Gautam Adani, one of the richest men in the world, or a business honcho, accused of manipulating the market.
अदानी जी 609 नंबर से दूसरे नंबर तक कैसे पहुंचे? सिर्फ एक सवाल पूछा, नरेंद्र मोदी जी, आपका अदानी जी से रिश्ता क्या है?
He has given the space, the railways, the airport, which he has no experience also. So the country's interest has been compromised.
Government has been very clearly supporting few industrial groups, including Adani's industrial group.
Target Adani. streaming now.
We support new permanent seats for Brazil, Germany, India and Japan.
France thus supports the